Click it on!
It's time to heat it up. It's time to light the fire. It's my turn to pump it up, and I want to take you higher. I'm calling all the people to get on up. It's time to set the sync all right. Everybody get ready for this. We gonna have a party tonight. DJ, turn the music up. Crystal in my cup. Shout out on the count of 3. 2, 1.
Video Gemu Ominoshite Mimashao. Let's delve into some of the history of Onechanbara before we get with this review. Onechanbara is a budget hack and slash series from Japan. The first game released on the PS2 for Japan and European audiences, and from what I assume, it was successful enough to warrant a lot of sequels. I mean, I'm no economist, but there's 11 games of the series and a movie, so I gotta assume that somewhere down the line they made money on this. The series mainly hits its stride in Japan, where most of the releases are, but American audiences have gotten 3 of the games so far. One for the Xbox 360, which I've been told is bad, one for the Wii, which I've been told is kinda meh, and third Onechanbara game America has gotten is Onechanbara Z2 Chaos. You may ask, why is it called Z2? Because it's a sequel to a game that never came to America. Thanks a lot, Japan. So because of that, I have no idea what's going on in this story. And yes, people, Onechanbara has a plot. As a matter of fact, it has 9 plots. Or maybe 7. Saki's kind of a flat board. But from what I understand about Onechanbara's stories, there are 2 clans, the Vampirics, which are a race of vampires, and the Banefuls, which are a clan cursed with the baneful blood. Kagura and Saya were vampires raised by Carmilla. Oh, I didn't think we were getting back to this series again. And they attempted to assassinate Aya and Saki, the protagonists of most of the games, where afterwards they realized Carmilla is an awful person trying to destroy the world and is overall a complete jerk. Called it. After defeating Carmilla, the first game ends. I assume with the girls starting a fight. I assume, like I said, this game came out only in Japan. The game we're reviewing starts out with a battle between Kagura and Aya, which is merely to show you how the gameplay works. It's not a great tutorial, as Aya is kinda hard to fight, but it works. Suddenly, a metal masked woman that would put Annalise to shame shows up, destroys the ground, and the 4 girls fall down a hole, separating the pairs as sisters, Kagura with Aya and Saki with Saya. Now, about the gameplay, it's a hack and slash in the vein of God of War, Devil May Cry, and Dynasty Warriors. Every level you go through hacking away at zombies, vampires, werewolves, ogres, and generally the undead. While there are enemies sprinkled around the level, the game has areas sectioned off that have you fight an onslaught of enemies, and depending on your score will rank you from D to V, V being the best and D being the worst. And at the end of most levels will be a boss, though some bosses get their own levels. When fighting enemies, they'll drop either a yellow orb or a red orb. The yellow orbs act as currency, while the red orb increases your stain gauge, which also increases whenever you kill enemies. When the stain gauge fills up, you're allowed to transform to Dare Drive or Ecstasy forms, for the Vampirics and Banefuls respectively. The transformation increases damage output, and it might be just me, but it seems score increases when you're in Dare Drive or Ecstasy. Another gauge you need to keep in mind is the blood gauge on the girl's weapons. If the gauge is filled, the weapon no longer causes damage to enemies. To be honest, I don't understand the point to the blood gauge. It doesn't cause weapons to break like in the Soul series, so why is it here? For once in the PS4's life, a third-party developer actually is implementing the touchpad into gameplay. During boss fights after driving health down to 0, you defeat them with a sequence of quick time events. It's an interesting way of implementing the touchpad, but besides adding a spectacle to the boss fight, it adds very little to the gameplay. Another game mechanic which is crucial if you want to V-rank your missions is summoning the other girls for battle. If you press the touchpad and all of the girls are ready, they'll appear alongside the girl you're playing and will attack enemies, kind of like Kingdom Hearts or Nicktoons Unite. The reason why it's crucial if you want to V-rank the mission is for some reason or another, when all 4 girls are killing the undead, your score can go into the millions. Otherwise, D-rank. Speaking of the 4 sisters, I think it's a good time to talk about how they control and how they fight. How they control is shared the same between all 4 of them. They have a weak attack, a strong attack, a special attack that's unique to the 4 characters, a dodge, and a double jump. Kagura is my favorite character to use out of all of them, and she is the most chaotic of the bunch. She wields 2 katanas to provide a great spin attack, and their strong combos ain't too shabby either. But my favorite weapon from her are her twin daggers. They work like Kratos' Chains of Olympus, and they cover a lot more area, and they hack the undead crazy fast. Basically, you feel like a badass when playing as Kagura. She also uses a boomerang, and when she's sufficiently upgraded, can fire a barrage of boomerangs. We then have our second babe with a sword, the series hero that's been around since the PS2, Aya. Aya's been growing on me in my playthroughs of this game. She's sort of that samurai swordsman. She alternates between using one sword and two swords. Her one sword style is focused a lot on enemies in front of her. And what's really cool is how at the end of the combo she'll do a beam slash, whatever the term is. You know how in anime the character will sheath their sword and then unsheath it really freaking fast and everyone will just instantly die? That's what Aya does, and it's really cool. One ability of hers is throwing knives, and it's a power that at first is pretty pathetic. But when upgraded, hers turn into 2 rows of floating knives that home in on whatever enemy is in front of her. It's an interesting ability, but besides using it for an achievement, I don't find much use for it in combat. As against most enemies, it won't kill them, and it does pitiful damage against bosses. Now, if Kagura is my main, Saki is my second main. She's mainly a hand-to-hand combat fighter, but also wields an Odachi, which at the end of her weak combo attacks does a ground pound attack that kills most of the enemies surrounding her at close range, and following that up with a sword laser that does a lot of damage to other enemies in front of her. If I haven't convinced you that Saki is awesome, you have no soul. But seriously, Saki is best described as a savage beast. She hits fast and hard, it is very quick to dodge, and with her sword she can do a lot of damage. I haven't used her counterattack all that much, but when I used it once, it utterly destroyed that enemy. I prefer using her Odachi over her fist, but Saki is a really awesome character. Fun fact, she was the main antagonist of the first Onechanbara, and if you had to fight her as Aya, I'd imagine it was
one heck of a battle!
Now the last sister is Saya, who is very underwhelming. Now her gameplay is very solid, but it's her damage output is her main issue. Saya, like Saki, uses hand-to-hand combat, but she throws punches at a slower pace compared to Saki and Aya. So for me, it's not all that appealing to use. But then she revs up her chainsaw and starts using it to hack the undead. This thing is slow as fuck, but it's great at crowd control when she uses her spin attack, and even her mace is great for crowd control. Now while it looks like Saya is supposed to hit like a dump truck with that chainsaw, it takes the same amount of time it takes the other girls to kill the undead. That makes no sense. In every beat-em-up, characters who are huge and hulking or wield giant weapons tend to hit for more damage. So why doesn't this apply to Saya's chainsaw? I hope this issue gets patched out, or she gets a buff in the sequel if it's ever made. Now, because I suck at segues, let's talk about the graphics. I feel very mixed about this game. I do think the character models are well made, but the design of the levels are kind of middle of the road. And some of the levels are pretty uninspired, especially in the later parts of the game, with the whole factory, office, and castle levels. They're kind of boring. Another issue graphics-wise is the lack of lip syncing, and you can tell with the footage I'm putting on the screen.
I should leave the undead spirit hunting to the others and just keep on sunbathing right here. Come on, Aya, be serious!
Character lips are clearly out of sync, which does take me out of some of the scenes when a large amount of focus is put on the faces. I can understand why the issue is here. The game is a pretty low budget, and they're using the Japanese lip syncing. To be honest, it can lead to some funny moments, and the jiggle physics are pretty funny. But if there's anything good I could say about the graphics, is that it runs at 60 FPS, which is nice. And even though the graphics aren't everything a PS4 could do, at least it runs at that steady frame rate. Now, one thing I absolutely love about this game is the voice acting, and I was surprised at how much I loved it. Doing a little research, I have found the voice actors for this game are actually pretty illustrious anime and video game actors. For example, Kagura is voiced by Amanda Celine Miller, who is the voice actor for Sailor Jupiter. Saya's is Shelby Lindley, who voiced Hitomi Shizuki from Madoka Magica. You know, the girls can't love girls girl. And perhaps the most prolific voice actor for Onechanbara is Cherry, the voice of Saki. To give you an idea, Cherry's work includes, but is not limited to, Sailor Venus, Patty from Soul Eater, and Lucy Heartophilia from Fairy Tail. And Aya's, well, Nicole Balak as Katie Kurt under her belt. I feel that all the voice actors do their job pretty well, but I have to give mad props to Amanda Celine Miller. She sells Kagura so freaking well.
Even without any water, I can just hydrate myself with blood. So, do your worst, desert.
She's over the top, deliciously foul-mouthed, and speaks in well-pronounced Japanese.
Hi, Shotomate kudasai.
She makes Kagura sound like a hilarious badass, and her Japanese Sayu Miyuki Sawashiro, who voices another sword-wielding badass, does just as good a job as Kagura. And when Kagura is spouting English or for gratuitous Japanese, it's always really freaking funny. Overall, I feel the English version is more entertaining than the Japanese version of this game. As with a video game, I don't want to read subtitles when I'm playing. So take that, anime community. Dubs over subs! Now another thing that's really easy to love is the music. Now if you live in America, I believe every copy is the Banana Split Edition, which comes with the art book, the soundtrack, this lovely game box, and a DLC code for 2 strawberries and a banana. I'm not joking. And thanks to this sweet bundle, I was able to sample and critique the music more easily on my many trips to class. All the songs will fit the areas they're in, but the one thing every song in the soundtrack has in common is that they all have this electric drum beat, making all the songs feel like they're club songs, which fits the theme of the characters, treating saving the world as a fun party. However, my favorite and possibly the most memorable song from this game, Ichiban wa Mi. It's an earworm of a song that I've had stuck in my head. And to best describe it, an anime song to a mash of dance beat, pop rock, and surprisingly some metal. I feel the song is to convey that our heroes are easygoing party lovers, but when push comes to shove, they'll work together to take on the world by the horns. Some people might not like it because of the overusage of auto-tuning, but I feel it adds to the club dance feel of the song. Sometimes it sounds cool. When the chorus of this tempo speeds up, you'll believe me when I say it's an anime theme song. Now, despite all the praise I've sung about this game, there's a fair bit wrong with the game. One issue is the mission's length, and overall, this game's length. Most missions can be beaten under 10 minutes, and the overall length of the game is 4 to 6 hours. Now, I don't have an issue with games being short. Matter of fact, with my schedule, I love a short game to sink my teeth into, and I've never found a game's length to be an issue until it starts dragging. This game is like boobs. It's the perfect shape and size, but if it were any bigger, they'd start sagging, like a pair of granny fun bags. Yet while I say I don't mind a game's length being short, I do mind when a mission is literally a straight line. Looking at the Japan level, it is literally 2 battles and a boss fight. Matter of fact, the 5 levels you can choose across the world are the worst examples of a short mission structure. China and the Middle East have admittedly the most interesting level design, especially the Middle East where you must roam across a large desert, avoiding the sandstorms, and China having some pretty scenery to look at. Peru, Japan, and Los Angeles are just extremely short, and while I do have all for what I'm here for, fighting zombies and monsters, it's the spice that makes levels interesting. Another big issue I have with this game is the boss fights. All of them can be chalked up as either annoying or easy, but always not hard, and especially lacking impact. For example, look at this guy, Abdul. Look at Abdul, he's from the desert. Huge, right? Giant sword, and huge bosses mean he could be a pretty tough boss, right? Nope. Jump, dodge, attack, win. That's it. This is true on every boss. Yes, they're huge hulking beasts or deadly powerful warriors, but doesn't matter why I usually chip away at their health and avoid their attacks with ease. That's not the way a boss fight should be handled. A boss should be an opponent that's the final challenge, something or someone a character should know or fear or have knowledge about. It doesn't help that most of the bosses show up from fucking nowhere. I can accept that they're the monster leading the undead in that area, and they're the reason why the girls go there, but I still think context should have been given about them. Kinda like how in Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days would tell you about the boss or warn you about its abilities. By far the worst example in Onechanbara of bosses showing up from fucking nowhere is Sayaka and Anzu. I think the character should have known them at some point, or at least know something about them, and the game hints that they're ZPD agents that were converted to undead, but the girls don't react to this at all. Even of the most obscure beat-em-ups such as Nicktoons Unite to the more well-known Streets of Rage, they knew they had to give context and impact to their bosses. So besides missionly and lackluster bosses, I don't see much wrong with this game. Nothing worth complaining about. Nothing about anything, you know. But Sombrero, look at this game. They're in bikinis. This is offensive. Why are you praising it? God damn it. Why are you still here? Fine. To address the fanservice of this game, I'm going to quote an otaku that hates Kill la Kill. Fanservice is like icing on the cake. If you take away the fanservice, you still have a pretty fun game. The game is a really great cake. The fanservice is only the icing. I'd like to compare Kagura and Aya to the character Medaka Kurakami, the main character of the anime Medaka box. Medaka is undoubtedly a character designed with fanservice in mind, but the fanservice doesn't define her character. The same applies to the 4 heroines of Onechanbara. The fanservice doesn't define their characters. Killing zombies and spouting angry sugar to the Japanese is what define their characters. But Sombrero, Why does Kagura wear someone mothering you with a pillow? And to answering your question, it's to mimic and mock Aya. If only it wasn't just revealed in Onechanbara Z. So yeah, Onechanbara Z2 Chaos. There is honestly a lot of problems this game has, but it's a really fun hack and slash with some well done voice acting. Once you be seeing beyond the breasts, you'll see the game's heart, and it has quite a heart. I could foresee Onechanbara Z2 Chaos becoming a hidden gem for the PS4, and it should not be overlooked. I highly recommend Onechanbara for PS4 users who aren't too up for God of War, and to be honest, I'd rather play as a girl with Hatsune Miku pigtail spouting anguish than an angry Spartan.